Hi everyone, I'm Steven.
大家好，我是 Bernice 老师。
Welcome to Enjoy English School. Today's date is April 28th. Please refer to pages 58 to 59 for composition.
今天我们来写作文喽。
All right, so let's see. The title is Catch the Thief.
Catch the thief. 同学在路上如果碰到有小偷有贼的时候，当然一把把他抓住了。
Okay, so one day when Victoria was walking down the street, a man snuck up on her, swiftly grabbed her bag, and immediately ran away.
好的，有那么一天，我们的女主角叫做 Victoria。当她呢正走在路上街上的时候，突然间有一个人偷偷的靠近她。我们讲到这个 snuck up on， 就是指呢慢慢，本来它是 sneak， 原型是 S-N-E-A-K， 就是指偷偷的、安安静静的这样子接近着他。然后呢 swiftly 就是很迅速的一把抓了他的这个包啊，然后就立刻跑掉啦。
Right, and you can see from these pictures right here, seems like the first one is when the thief is stealing Victoria's bag.
没错。
The second picture, you see her saying, no! Looks like she's throwing something at him,
对。
right? Okay, and then at the very end, seems like maybe she got her bag back.
对，应该是，当然是结尾要是好的喽。
Yeah, and it looks like there's a lot of people like cheering for her as well.
没错。
Okay, let's find out what really happens.
好的。
One day, when Victoria was walking down the street, a man snuck up on her, swiftly grabbed her bag, and immediately ran away.
好啦，我们现在开始来写作文了。一开始的这个第一句话的主题句呢，也就是你的引导句很重要，因为它引导我们在看这个故事的时候，的第一个感觉。好，所以他说有那么一天了，我们这个女主角 Victoria， 当她正走在街上的时候，要记得用过去式，因为我们在描述一个过去已经发生的一个故事了。那么这时候有一个人就怎么样呢？悄悄的接近他，我们讲到这个 snuck up on， 那我们刚刚讲它是过去式嘛，那它的这个原型呢就是 S-N-E-A-K， 就是慢慢的要接近他了，然后呢 swiftly 就是很迅速的一把抓了他的包，然后立刻马上就跑掉了。
Right, okay, so always remember when you're telling a story, it's going to be in past tense.
对。
Okay, remember that, because a lot of people forget that, because in Chinese, there is no past tense.
对，我们没有时态。
Right. So she was walking down the street, and a man kind of quietly got behind her, so he
没错。
snuck up on her, and then quickly, 你可以讲quickly, took her bag. You can say took, but grab is just trying to say he used his hands to take it
对。
in a way that's forceful. That's what grabbing means.
对。
And immediately ran away. So with this adverb immediately, like the speed is really quick.
没错。
Right? So it's really important to know and to use these adverbs to kind of give people a mental picture of the story. If you realize in the beginning when I'm reading it, I'm going to start the beginning very slow. Okay, and I'm going to give you some more suspense. Like one day when Victoria was walking down the street, pause, a man snuck up on her, swiftly grabbed her bag, and immediately ran away. So when you want to tell a story, when you're trying to explain something, you have to really try to slow down or speed up, make some words longer, make some words shorter, and this really helps bring out the picture.
没错，像同学你们以前小的时候呢，在听故事，人家都说 Once upon a time， 从前有一个漂亮的公主。好，所以你要用过去式，这是第一个你要注意的。第二个，当你在讲解故事或者在写的时候呢，你要让人家感觉真的好像身临其境的感觉。所以呢，你要有一些副词啦、形容词啦，来描述这些动作或者是名词，让你的这个句子栩栩如生的感觉。
Exactly right. She felt shocked and upset, but she didn't hesitate for 1 second, crying out, thief, as she chased after the man.
可是这个女生一点都不害怕哦，虽然她感觉到有点吓到一下，有点很震惊了，而且呢，她非常的 upset， 她很生气，怎么有人在走在光明这个光明的路上面，怎么突然就一人一把我的包给抢走了？可是呢，她完全没有做任何的 hesitate， 就她一点也不犹豫的，就怎么样呢 ？For 1 second， 1秒都没有犹豫 ，OK， 就马上的 crying out， 就是大叫。 大叫这个小偷啊，有小偷啊这样子，而且那个时候他一边叫还一边怎么样追着这个小偷，在他后面追着他跑。
我们怎么知道是一边这样子叫出来，一边追小偷？因为他说 as she chased after the man，
就是当他正在追着他。
对，你看一个字就可以代表你看那么大的一个意义。
对，没错，
就是做这个事情，同时做这个两个事情。那我们也看到他说 she felt shocked， 你也可以说 she felt surprised，or she was shocked， 也可以搭配 be 动词。And upset means like sad and angry at the same time. That's when you're upset. Okay, so if Bernice also looks like that, I might be like, why are you upset? Are you okay?
不过我很少这样。
Yeah, she's always happy. She is always happy. So she didn't stop for 1 second. She didn't hesitate for 1 second. Crying out thief. Now, a lot of times people think crying just means like 哭嘛, right? No, when you cry out something, that means you're shouting something. Okay, so you could also say she didn't stop for 1 second, shouting out thief. Okay, and we have quotation marks here, and it's capitalized because that's what she's saying.
对，这是他说话的内容。
Yeah, and then she chased after the man, so she went after him. Now, I want to talk about the difference between thief and robber.
Okay.
A thief is someone who steals something, but he doesn't hurt you. Okay, a robber, R-O-B-B-E-R, is someone who steals your things, but also might beat you up, or maybe even kill you, or hurt you. That is the difference between a robber, R-O-B-B-E-R, and a thief.
好，小偷跟抢匪之间的一个差异就是，小偷他其实他单纯的目的就是要偷东西，所以他就是要拿你的东西。可是 robber 呢，他可能不是只有偷你的财物，抢你的财物，他可能甚至会伤害到你，或者是打你，或者是怎么样。好，所以呢，他们两个的差异是在这样子。
That's right. Let's take a short break.
好的。
After running for a while, Victoria felt very exhausted.
好啦，因为这个女孩子她自己去追这个贼，对不对？所以呢，跑了一会儿之后呢，你会看到这个 after 后面怎么接了 ing， 那是因为它的主词是相同的，所以我们省略了这个 Victoria 当做主词，所以后面的动词要加 ing。在 Victoria 跑了一会儿之后，她觉得好累呀。
Right, so when you feel exhausted, it means that you feel very tired. Usually it's after doing something that's very physically demanding. Okay, so after she felt very tired and very exhausted, she did something. What did she do? It was then that a brilliant idea occurred to her.
就在那个时候。好，那么所以同学你可以看到这边有一个句型呢，叫做 It was that， 这是一个加强的句型。OK， 好，所以它这个句型就是说的，就在那个时候，因为他那时候很累了嘛，他突然间想到一个非常棒的好主意了 ，brilliant 就是一个 wonderful， 一个很棒的一个主意了。然后呢，这个主意是怎么样呢 ？occur to somebody。当我们用到这个片语的时候，我们可以换成 hit upon，H-I-T。UPON 就是指某人突然想到的意思。
Right. Another word we might say instead of brilliant or 刚刚老师说的 wonderful, you could also say genius.
一个很天才的想法。
A genius idea, and that's G-E-N-I-U-S. You can also say somebody who is very smart is a
聪明的人。
genius. Okay, Bernice 老师 is a
我
genius.
不是啦，我是 stupid。
No, you're not. You're not stupid. So when an idea all of a sudden appears in your head or in your mind, we often will say this idea came to you or it comes to you. Okay, so it suddenly came to me
对，
that
就好像走过来了，有没有？
yeah.
对。
So we often say came to me, an idea came to me, an idea hit upon me, or an idea occurred to me.
对，
so
都可以。
我们常常会说，突然想起，我说it suddenly occurred to me.
没错。
You don't like to eat lettuce, right? 突然想起你不喜欢吃
好像不喜欢吃这个
生菜，
lettuce，
可能你面前有生菜，然
对，
后突然
没错。
想起了 occurred to me. She stopped running, took off one of her sneakers, and hurled it at thief.
好，就他到底想到什么样的一个很棒的主意呢？这时候他就停止不跑了 ，stop 后面接 ing 表示停止做你现在正在做的这个动作。然后呢 ，took off 就是 take off， 把他的其中一只运动鞋呢脱下来。 然后呢，接着把这个运动鞋呢 hurl， 什么叫 hurl？ 就是很用力、很愤怒的把它往前丢过去，扔直出去，然后朝着这个 thief 的方向，所以介系词用 at，所以他把他的鞋子用力的朝着这个 thief 丢过去了。
Right. So when you take off something, usually you're taking off your clothes, your shirt, your pants, we say take off your clothes. So take off one of her sneakers. So sneaker is a type of shoe. It's 球鞋. Okay, so that's what a sneaker is. It could have said took off one of her shoes. That's acceptable as well. And threw it at the thief. That's another word you can use. Now, throw is the original form, T-H-R-O-W. The past tense is T-H-R-E-W. And threw it at the thief. But usually when we see throw, it's just hurling is a type of throwing. But hurling, it just sounds like she's using a lot of power to throw.
很用力的这样子丢。
Yeah, that's when you hurl something.
没错。
Okay. Her sneaker curved perfectly in the air and hit her target, the man's head.
对，你看很像那个很戏剧般，有没有？突然就是发觉，哎，他的那一只运动鞋呢 ，curve 本来是形成一个曲线状嘛，所以它就像抛物线一样，这样飞出去，飞出去，而且是 perfectly 这个曲线非常的完美，就在这个空中这样飞出去，刚好打中了他的 target， 就是他命中的那个目标。这个目标是什么？就是那个男的头啊。
对，你看没有这个 perfectly 这个。副词的话，是不是就会少了很大的味道？
对，没错，
对不对？所以我们看到 curved perfectly， 它一加这个副词 ，we can really imagine that angle was perfect. The curve is a very beautiful curve.
对，没错。
From A to B, you see a beautiful curve. So really, it's so important to learn these adverbs and to use these adverbs.
没错。
Okay? So curve. Even though we know curve is a noun, right? In this situation, it's being used as a verb. Okay, so it's in the motion, it's in the shape of a curve. It's moving in the shape of a curve. It's curving perfectly in the air and hitting our target. And here you see a line, the man's head. This long line is called an M dash. E-M, second word, D-A-S-H. It's usually used in substitute of a colon, okay? And it's just giving more information at the end of the sentence.
我们讲到这个长化符号呢，它的功用在句子里面就是用来补充说明它前面还没有说完的东西，所以它这边在补充说明那个 target 是什么呢？就是这个小偷的头。
And also, it's really important when you're telling the story to have that M dash because you're giving suspense. Okay, what is her target? The man's head. So it kind of gives people like some time to be like, oh, what did it hit? And then you're like, the man's head. And everyone's like, oh, you know, then there's like a punchline. So that's why it's important to have different ways to express different things. Because then, depending on the situation, like if you're telling a story, you should always let everyone wait till the end before you reveal what it is. But in writing, you can do whatever you want. It's up to you.
对，所以在故事里面，我们会常常看到这样的一个符号的出现。
The thief was knocked down to the ground on the spot.
就在当场，这个小偷呢就被怎么样呢？因为他这个鞋子很漂亮的，要飞出去打到他的头，所以就被打倒了。To the ground 就直接打倒，咚一声倒在地上了。
So pay attention. This knock down, even though it starts with a K, the K is silent. Okay, so knocked down means that he was, you know, like knocked unconscious. Like he's unconscious. He's not awake right now. Okay, so knocked down. Or it can just mean that his body hit the ground.
对。
You know that whenever you're playing a fighting game, you see KO.
Yeah.
That's knocked out. Okay, 被就是打昏了。
对。
Okay, 这个介系词是 down， 他被打到地上了。对。To the ground, on the spot. 那这个 on the spot 就是 right there, right then and there. That's right. All right, let's take a short break.
好的。
In the end, Victoria caught the thief, stepped on his back, got her bag, and lifted it up in triumph.
哇，最后这个结尾呢，实在让大家感觉真的就像在看电影一样，对不对？In the end, finally， 到了最后怎么样呢？我们的女主角 当然是抓到贼了啊，而且不但抓到他，还一脚踩在他的背上，step on 就是你的脚踩在他的背上，然后呢取回了他的这个袋子，他的这个包包，并且他把这个包包呢举高 lift up。举高来怎么样呢？用一种怎么样胜利的方式，就是你看我赢了吧，怎么样？这种感觉。
Right. So now that we see in the beginning of this paragraph, in the end, as the reader or as a listener, we know that this is the end of the story.
没错。
Right? So it's really important to have this sometimes, so it lets the listener know that we're about to know the conclusion of the story. Victoria caught the thief, and caught is the past tense of catch, C-A-T-C-H. She caught the thief, stepped on his back, got her bag, and lifted it up in triumph. Triumph, it ends with PH, but it's an F sound, okay? And it means the same thing as in victory, okay? Victory, V-I-C-T-O-R-Y.
胜利的意思。
胜利. So she lifted up in victory as if she won something, right? It's like a contest or a competition. Now, when I was reading it, did you pay attention to, I was stopping in between each part, okay? Each verb, because I want the listener to have that suspense. What happened next? What happened next? Tell me more, tell me more. But if you just read it really quickly, like in the end, Victoria caught the thief, stepped on his back, got her bag, and lifted up in triumph. It's really hard for the listener to feel that triumph, to feel that victory. So you really have to read it slowly. In the end, Victoria caught the thief, then what? Stepped on his back, and then got her bag, and then what happened? And lifted it up in triumph. 那最后我也是往上扬，让 listener 知道哦，你知道胜利的部分高潮就在这里。
对，
这讲故事真的很重要。
没错。
The mugger painfully came to realize he messed with the wrong girl.
OK， 所以到了此时此刻呢，我们这个 mugger 就是这个拦路行凶的这个抢犯呢，才怎么样？非常的痛苦的、生痛的 come to realize， 才逐渐的了解到、领悟到什么呢？他其实惹错了女生了，不对的人了。Mess with 就是指招惹的意思。The wrong girl 就是说你惹错人了，你以为我是这个女生，感觉好像就是只会尖叫，只会害怕，结果没想到人家真的抓到贼了。
It sounds like this mugger mugged Bernice 老师。
对，如果是遇到我一定扭掉他的头。
All right, so mugger, M-U-G-G-E-R, is the same thing as saying stealing, someone who steals things, a thief. It's just another word. So another word that we can use as a verb is he was mugged.
用 M-U-G 这个它的动词
M-U-G 当个动词，也就是他东西被偷
抢了。
So the mugger, so 我们知道有加个 er 在后面，就是一种人，可以说是个小偷。The mugger painfully came to realize， 那又是一个加副词，会更加让人家知道当时这个 mugger 的心情，对不对？Come to realize something, you could just say the mugger painfully realized he messed with the wrong girl. But when you say come to realize, or in the past tense, came to realize, it's kind of like he didn't realize it at first, but because of what happened to him, he came to this realization.
对，就是逐渐的、慢慢的才领悟到。
对对。Many pedestrians all gave her a big hand for her bravery.
那当然，这些很多的 pedestrians 就是围观的这些路人，旁边的这些路人呢，通通都给他一个 big hand。什么叫给他一个 big hand？ 就是哇，热烈掌声鼓励啊！好，对于因为他的什么事情去鼓励呢 ？bravery 就是这个女孩子非常的勇敢。
So pedestrian 这个我们有所看到是在于，比如说那个人行道
上，
okay, 那个就是 pedestrian crossing。
对
，okay, 你这个会看到。So pedestrians that were close to the situation saw what Victoria did, and they gave her a big hand. That doesn't mean they gave her a big hand， 不是给了她一个大的手，不是这个意思，而是他们拍手，你可以为她鼓掌。Okay, give， 所以有的时候一个表演结束之后，他们会说 give her a big hand， 帮她就是拍手，这样子一样，就是拍手 give her applause。
对
，Okay, A-P-P-L-A-U-S-E， applause。Okay, for what? For her bravery or for her courage. C-O-U-R-A-G-E。
她的勇气。
Okay, now let's go to the review.
好的。
Bernice 老师, what does it mean when someone sneaks up on you?
哟，就是指他鬼鬼祟祟的靠近我的意思。
Okay, and don't forget the past tense is snuck, S-N-U-C-K.
对，它的过去式很特别。
All right, and if you swiftly do something, what does that mean?
表示我很快的去做一件事情。
Okay, and sometimes when you're about to make a decision, you might hesitate. What does hesitate mean?
有的时候我们在做决定，总是会稍微犹豫一下了。
Okay, all right, and then sometimes an idea might occur to you suddenly. What does that mean?
我突然想到一个什么方法。
Okay, and if I'm throwing something very strongly, I might be hurling it. Hurl 的这个东西。
很用力的拿一个东西朝着我这个方向扔过来。
And if this thing that I'm throwing curves in the air, that means
哇，就是这个东西扔出来的时候，它的呈现一个抛物线的形状。
it might hit somebody in the head and he might get knocked down.
对，因为打到头啦，所以就只好怎么样，砰一声倒在地上啦。
And if you do something in triumph, what does that mean?
哇，表示用胜利的一个姿势。
And when you come to realize something, what does that mean?
我慢慢的、逐渐的领悟到了。
Okay, and never mess with Bernice 老师.
那当然，千万别惹错了我啊。
Okay, and who are pedestrians?
哦，就是走在路上的行人。
That's right. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
拜。
第58页，看图作文，热血捉贼记。
Catch the thief. One day, when Victoria was walking down the street, a man snuck up on her, swiftly grabbed her bag, and immediately ran away. She felt shocked and upset, but she didn't hesitate for 1 second, crying out, "Thief!" as she chased after the man. After running for a while, Victoria felt very exhausted. It was then that a brilliant idea occurred to her. She stopped running, took off one of her sneakers, and hurled it at the thief. Her sneaker curved perfectly in the air and hit her target, the man's head. The thief was knocked down to the ground on the spot. In the end, Victoria caught the thief, stepped on his back, got her bag, and lifted it up in triumph. The mugger painfully came to realize he messed with the wrong girl. Many pedestrians all gave her a big hand for her bravery.